We're live. Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to SimPlay Motorsport here for the penultimate round of the season in the Whodarron Cup. I'm Mathew Duffin, joined in the commentary box by Phil Raiden, and he's not been able to make it onto the grid tonight due to cricket training, but he is in the commentary box with us. It is Gillies once again joining us live. Stephen, we'll come to you first. The Whodarron Cup this season has been quite the championship. Obviously, you've been a part of it in that silver category for majority of the season. What a championship it's been. The cars are fantastic. It's been an absolutely great battle. Yourself and Miga have been, pushing and challenging them gold drivers harder than I think you was expecting to a bit more this season.
Yeah, GT4s, it sort of always delivers, really. They're not as quick as the GT3 cars. They're maybe not as exciting as the GT3 cars to a lot of people. But I think the one thing that they deliver really is good racing. They're a raceable class of cars, and I think we've seen that this season with some of the battles across the grid. It's been a surprise for sure to see a lot of the silver drivers pushing the gold drivers all the way. But that's just shows how the standard is improving, and there's some real quick guys in this grid. It's been a lot of fun to be part of it on the racetrack, and now also in the commentary box with yourselves.
And Phil, you've obviously been around for quite a while with SimPlay Motorsport. You've seen the GT4s, you've been in the GT4s. They're always an interesting car to keep your eyes on. They sometimes provide some great entertaining battles. Valencia may prove different tonight. We know that Valencia more known for its bike racing than it is for its GT racing, but it can provide some good side-by-side action through a couple of these corners. It's going to be an interesting one to keep our eyes on.
Yeah, hello everybody. It's going to be interesting. Yes, this is a bit, you can see this is a bike circuit as well as a big effigy of Valentino Rossi on one of the buildings, but it is going to be fascinating. The car setup is not as much as a thing in the GT4 cars, if I can remember rightly. Even though the KTM could really do with it sometimes. I also think the driver was at fault when I was using it. Oh, hello.
Before we get into the tables, good evening to Post in the chat. Obviously, he's out there on track. Benny Archer as well. Great to see Benny Archer back in the chat. Good evening to you, buddy. Gary Clauble, as well as Gareth Hansen in there. So welcome in, everybody. Great to see plenty of people in the chat. I'll run through the standings very quickly. 4 drivers can still win the Gold Championship. That is Post, who leads the way on 1,132. Cairns on 1,070. De Munster on 1,059, but he's not here tonight. And the drop scores ended last week, so that's going to really hurt him in his championship run. And Wilbrink is still mathematically in with a chance of winning the championship. Whether that will play out for Wilbrink tonight or not, I doubt it. He'll possibly be eliminated, but he is outdoing Post at the minute, so maybe he can just stay in there going into Donington Park. Pospisil is P5 from Mackenzie, McGowan, Leach and Mezin. They all cannot win the title. In silver, Gillies can still technically win it, so can Popovic and Vasic, but again, very unlikely after tonight. Miga just needs to outscore Gillies and Popovic by 46 points tonight, and they will be out of the running. Obviously, Gillies not able to attend many Tuesday nights due to cricket training, I believe it is, on the Tuesday night that he now attends, now that our British summer is coming around. So it looks like Miga could wrap up the championship tonight. And Stephen, he's been a formidable competitor all season. You have pushed him hard, but all these weeks you've obviously not been able to attend due to other commitments. You've really pushed him hard this season, but he's been a top driver, top bloke, and really between the two of you, and obviously Popovic and Vasic have done well, it was really between the two of you before you had sort of take a step back on a Tuesday night.
Yeah, for sure. He's just been relentless, really. You feel like every time I would feel like I've done a good race and look at the standings and go, oh yeah, I think I've done quite well this week, and then you look up and he's still there. Even on the weeks where he's not done well, he's been banking those points, and he's been up there fighting for overall wins as well. So it's when he's on a good day, he's as good as anybody on that grid, including the gold drivers, and you can see that with just the size of the gap in the standings. And I also, as much as it pains me to say, I think even if I had been able to attend all of these races, I still think he would have dumped me over the 10 races. So yeah, as much as it pains me to say.
The rest of the Silver Championship looks like this. Herenditches, P5 from Benny Varga, Jamie Lee, Marsden, Cummins, Aberdeen, McMillan, Gluhack, Johnson, Ramsell, Betterson, and then Sturrock, who no longer can win the championship. The bronze title as well was going down to the wire until Cherry Moore's not been able to attend the last couple of Thursdays, and that's put him on the back foot now. He's still in with contention if he was to be here next week, but Anderson leads the way in that one. Cherrymore, Gruppeljan can still win it, Broom can still win it, so can Stapley and Privet, and then it's Winspear, Crack, Dewson, Smith, Tipping, and Atherton who cannot in the Bronze Championship tonight. So it's really going to be an interesting one. Obviously, no drop scores going into tonight's race. They've all done now. They're put to bed. It's now, Phil, about that. You've got to capitalise opportunity, because if you look at De Monster, was within the shout of winning this championship, only just under 100 points behind. In fact, he's not here tonight. That's going to have a major impact on him having a zero score technically.
Oh yeah, it's going to hurt. No, without the drop scores. Oh, drop scores. Put my teeth in. As opposed to sideways going through that corner.
Post is the first man out on the track for qualifying at the moment. Only the 4 gold drivers here tonight. Good amount of bronze and silvers once again, and Whodarron Cup just seems to have been dropping off a little bit as the season's gone on, and there may be changes to Whodarron Cup for next season, so keep your eyes out for that one as we come to our season end at Donington Park next week. But Post is about to start his first flying lap of this qualifying session tonight. That McLaren could be a strong car here, Stephen. It's a long start straight, and we know how quick that car is in a straight line.
Yeah, the McLaren's been a bit of a pest in this season. Even on the tracks where you feel like it's not going to do very well, the more technical tracks, it hasn't mattered. Like, it's just had the legs on the straights. You've not been able to pass it, which is very infuriating as a Ginetta driver, where basically the opposite is true and you've got nothing on the straights. But yeah, Post is hustling that thing around. He has been all season. It'll be interesting to see how he gets on. I feel like Valencia maybe won't suit the McLaren as much as some of the other tracks, but there's so few places to pass here. If he gets a good enough exit on coming out of the final corner every lap, it's going to be a real challenge to get by.
It is indeed, and like you say, very difficult to overtake around here. And the McLaren, will it suit that middle sector? That's the sector I'm really looking at. You've got sector 1, you know, the long start straight, bit of a straight between turn 1 and turn 2, and it's not too bad. It's when you get into that tricky, twisty middle sector where the McLaren could struggle tonight. So we'll keep our eyes on what lap times he is going to set. Phil Atherton, the only man not out there in qualifying at the moment. That could be an invalid lap for Post as well. He was quite away on the curb coming round the long sweeping left-hand bend in towards the final corner. He goes now. Tricky corner to get right. You can get the entry right and the exit wrong, or you could get the entry wrong and the exit absolutely spot on. So it's going to be interesting to see what these drivers can do. I believe that is Wilbrink just behind him in the 78, who is following him over the line. And yes, Wilbrink posts a lap time onto the board. Post did not. We've got the number 10 of Kruppeljan trying to stay in that bronze championship, currently going second place. The 95 is about to cross the line. We've just missed that one. We'll turn our attention to the 45 of Stapley, who's come all right of sorts lately. He's started to pick up a few good results in that bronze championship and just trying to keep himself within contention as much as he can. And there we go. Look, your championship contender, Maiga, putting it on provisional pole in this 10-minute qualifying session. So already Maiga looking to stamp his authority in this session. At the moment, we've got the 473 of Jamie Lee. The McLaren, Mercedes, good car around here to use. It's got that good bit of power, maybe a bit better through the corners than the McLaren as well. So the Mercedes might be the car to look at. I feel like the Ginetta's a strong car here also. The problem is that it's such a long start straight, Phil, that its top speed is just going to hurt it after all that good work it's done in that middle sector.
You're going to want to take the wing out, aren't you? Really, for the long straight.
I think
but then you've got nothing.
A bit more than the wing as well. Yeah, exactly. I think a bit more than the wing as well. But we'll see what happens. Maiga currently on provisional pole. We've got the 26 coming towards the line in just a moment. That is Mackenzie coming down to finish his lap in the Chevrolet Camaro. Always seems to have a strong second race, does Mackenzie. I'm sure he'd love to get a race one under his belt and get a good finish in that one. So can we crown a champion tonight? Obviously, Pro-Am looks pretty tight. I don't think we're going to crown one tomorrow night and Thursday as well. I don't think we're going to be crowning one there on Thursday evening in the Pro Series. So we'll keep our eyes on what will happen. They're all very tight in Pro-Am. Teams, gold, bronze, silver, platinum, all really tight between the four. So I don't think we'll see many chances of a champion tomorrow night. Will take a monumental error from somebody if they was to win the championship there. But we can crown Maiga as champion tonight if he outscores others by 46 points. Well, he's about to set another qualifying lap time here, and he goes even quicker, puts 2/10 now between himself and his next closest driver on the grid of Wilbrink. Post down in P3. What's Cairns got to do tonight, Stephen? You've driven the Ginetta, so you know what it's like. What's Cairns got to do? Because he is going to lose a lot of that time down the start straight, but will gain a lot in that middle sector. It's so difficult to overtake at some of these corners because they're constantly left to right, changing very quickly. What's that Ginetta got to do?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I feel like you're going to have to put the drivers in front under pressure. I think that's going to be the main way of getting by. The other way as well is with the Ginetta is sometimes you just got to hit and run. You know, you got to find places where the other drivers aren't expecting you to make the move, make the use of the brakes, because the brakes in the Ginetta are so much better than everything else in the field, and you pay for that on the straights. But yeah, sometimes you just got to get a little bit creative, and it's the sort of track where you probably can get a bit creative, a bit more adventurous with your moves. And I feel like that is something that if Cairns is able to do, to get up, potentially up the inside in a few unusual places. It's so slippery off line, it feels like here as well, that if you can just force another car off wide, not necessarily with contact, just with good car positioning, that maybe you can make up places that way. But it's going to be very tough, especially with how, I always think with how open turn 1 is here.
Yeah.
Turn 2 is almost the better overtaking spot, but that means you've got to not only stay close enough on the straight, but also through that sort of fast corner. So yeah, it's a bike track. What can you say, really?
And we're already seeing that Post has gone provisional pole by 7/100ths of a second at the moment. So Post has gone provisional pole there. We've just seen Popovic come across the line and doesn't set an improved lap time with the 4.96 of Herendich. He's about to cross the line as well. Can he go any quicker in this session? We'll find out in just a moment. But it really has been an interesting season in this Whodarron Cup. We've had some great seasons, Phil. Obviously, you've been here a bit longer than Stephen has himself. The Whodarron Cup, we've had the BMW M2s, we've had the Ginetta-only series, GT4s for a few seasons as well. And the Tuesday night series, Phil, in its own, before it became the Whodarron Cup, after we sadly lost Aaron Myers, I believe it's Aaron Myers himself, a couple of seasons back, the Tuesday night series has always provided just that something a little bit different and always given us that little bit of great entertaining value in different cars that we've been able to use.
Yeah, the only things we didn't do was Super Trofeo and Ferrari Challenge.
Yeah, sadly. And GT2.
Sadly. And GT2s. But people wanted a GT2 series and no one signed up for it.
But what, we're looking at the future, Phil. Obviously, we've discussed a few plans with yourself. Obviously, we're not going to say on air what they are. We're going to try and keep it as hidden as possible. You know a few of these plans going forward as well. I think Stephen is aware. I think we had a conversation about it last week. It looks like it could be an interesting Whodarron Cup next season if what is in the pipeline does come to fruition.
Oh yeah, it's going to be absolutely monumental. And all we can say is say goodbye to probably GT4.
Yeah, indeed. We could probably say goodbye to the GT4 class. I've put my controller down, I found it. So Post currently leads the way from Maiga. Then it is Wilbrink. Cairns down in 4th. Vasich is currently P5. Mackenzie 6th from Herendich. Last laps that Peter Herendich is about to start. The 888 as well of Neil Broom may get one last lap in. Gluhack is out there on a lap. Phil Atherton hasn't set a lap time. Here comes Herendich. Stays P7 at the moment. Gets one more flying lap under his belt. Neil Broom will get the same thing. Does he find an improvement? No, he does not. Stays down in P10. Been impressed with Neil Broom lately, Stephen. He started to get a few podiums in that bronze series, not just in Whodarron Cup, but in Pro-Am as well. Really looks like he's just starting to find his feet in a bit of form.
Yeah, I've known Neil a while now, and it seems to just be starting to come together for him. Obviously, he's in the Aston Martin, I think, both here and also in Pro-Am, I believe, as well, in the GT3s. And I think that's just working well for him. We know it's a nice stable base, nice solid car. Doesn't necessarily have any places where it excels, but it doesn't have too many weaknesses either. And I think sometimes that consistency can really help with a driver. And he seems to be going from strength to strength. And Anderson is no slouch. If you look at that lap time at the moment, he's matching the silver drivers, and Broom's only a couple of attempts behind him. So no, credit where credit's due. He's come along really nicely towards the end of this season.
Well, Mike has just pulled into the pit lane post, improved to make that gap just under 1.5 tenths. But Mike drives into the pit lanes. We've only got a handful of drivers out on a lap now at the moment, and Anderson currently sat on that provisional pole. We are watching Broom right now, who is on a lap time at the moment. Can he find that 2 and a bit tenths he needs to get himself on pole position in bronze? The silver driver's still out there. We've actually got the 496. Sorry, I'm watching the wrong car. The 496 of Herendich. Can he find almost a second to take pole away from Miga? No, he does not. Doesn't improve at all there. Here comes Neil Broom towards the line. Is he going to take pole position in that bronze category? Vital as well, because it's an extra point in on offer, and he does not. And that then is your 17 car grid, as I'll input the points now, because that could be crucial for post in this championship. To outscore Cairns by another point just pulls him one extra place closer towards that championship trophy. And what about Miga now? So Miga scores that extra point in this one, and Anderson as well pulls another point clear of the likes of the rest of his bronze field. So it's post from Miga, silver and gold pole position lining up on the front row of the grid. Wilbrink will line up alongside Cairns, with Mackenzie alongside Vasic, P2 in silver. Herendich is P3 in silver. He lines up with Popovic. The front row in bronze is Anderson and Neil Broom going at it. Stapley lines up P11 from Gluhack. Marsden alongside Privet. Jamie Lee alongside Kruppeljan, and Phil Atherton lining up at the back. Remember, if you are new to SimPlay Motorsport, points aren't scored per category. They are scored as they are classified overall position. So, Phil, that really makes a difference in terms of these fights. If you're Miga in this one, you do not want to be losing points to the likes of Vasic in this championship fight. You've got it within your grasp. You've got to make sure you beat him, because in this, if you start to lose out to even the bronze drivers as well, that's really going to hurt you in terms of points.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And he's already got, look, maybe his little finger on the trophy right now.
I think one hand possibly on the trophy right now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of like he can touch it and have a look, but he's got to keep ahead of them pro drivers really as well from even more points.
Yeah, and that's the other way it works, isn't it? Cairns has got the work to do. So has Wilbrink to try and stay in this. Cairns and Wilbrink have got the work to do to try and stay in this championship fight over post. But they've got to get ahead of Miga as well as post. So they've got to try and fight a silver driver. And this is the bonus, Stephen, isn't it? With having the overall points, it's not a case of, I don't mind losing to Miga because he's not taking points off me. He's a car that you've got to go out there and race and challenge because he is taking points off you.
Yeah, it's what I really like about the format, to be honest. I feel like when you split a grid into sort of categories, into classes, sometimes it can get a little bit be like, oh well, I don't need to fight this guy because we're in different categories. I'll just let off the throttle, in he goes. But you don't get that here, which is really good. And when what we've seen this season in most of the categories, where the lower categories are able to actually mix it with the top classes, it causes problems. And Miga, not only is he quick, he's also, not very easy to pass. He's not shy. He gets the car in the right place. He's not afraid to get the elbows out if he needs to. And that's something that, it's the last thing you want if you're Cairns, if you're Wilbrink. You can see your championship rival scampering up the road, and you've got this guy in silver who's fully parking the bus, and you just can't get by. But that's what they've got to do. So, I'm quite excited for this one, to be honest.
Who are you going for, Phil, in this race? Who do you think is going to take the race win?
I would do the vote as well. But I'm going to go for post with his Monster Energy coloured McLaren.
Stephen, who do you think is winning this one?
I'm going to go for Miga. I think we might see a silver driver win overall. I think he's got the chance.
I'm going to go a little rogue here. I'm going to say Mackenzie in that Chevrolet. Watch out for him. Normally does better in the second races. Obviously, your teammate on the pro night in the Nissan. So I'll give your teammate a little shout out there. I think he could be in with a chance tonight. We know what turn one's like. Track limits at this track as well. I think that's one thing to mention is can be very strict. Apart from turn one. Turn one, you can run very, very wide and get away with it through the game. Now, if drivers do report that, we have our own track limit rules in terms of the curbs, the track limits. 2 wheels have to remain on that at all time. That is down to the drivers to report, not us to look at. So if drivers don't report that, and people just keep taking that extra line through turn one and being a bit wider to carry that momentum through the corner, that could be something to keep our eyes on as they enter the final corner. DJ Phil is very far behind on this formation lap, looking at the track.
Track map I was then thinking, what is he doing?
Yeah, I keep calling him DJ Phil. For those who don't know, it's his PlayStation username. He's Phil Atherton to everybody else. The old habits of the Project Cars 2s and PS4 Assetto Corsa days when everybody was PlayStation names because it wasn't cross-play at the time. But here we go. It is, well, there we go. He's got a drive-through for speeding on the start. So that means he's over his speed allocation that he's allowed to be in at the start line. So DJ Phil in a hurry to catch back up has missed out, but we all green and go. It's Post who is through the corner nice and cleanly. Micah goes with him. Cairns, we just see that track limit there just opening up turn one, going side by side now with Wilbrink down in towards turn number 2, and it's Wilbrink on that inside line, manages to get back ahead of the Ginetta. This is where though the Ginetta will be at its strongest. Look out for Mackenzie just behind as Cairns sends the nose up the inside then of that of Wilbrink just to have a look, keeps him on that outside line, coming through this long right-hander. And I've got history in the Ginetta around this circuit in the past. We won't go into it. You know what I mean, Phil. As DJ Phil is off the track at the moment. It is not broadcastable at all. As Phil goes off the track just momentarily. But a great fight. Cairns is through. We've got 2 Mercedes of Herendich. Of Popovic. And I believe, is that Vasic? It is indeed. Going side by side in towards the middle sector. Deep into it they go. The 2 Mercedes-Benz. But a great start from the entire field with cars making lovely fights, Stephen.
Yeah, great racing from Cairns and Wilbrink up top there. We saw the flowing nature of that middle sector in true force, and actually we've been speaking about MotoGP and it being a bike track. Cairns there with a bit of an old-fashioned block pass there. He got the car across, and there was nowhere for Wilbrink to go. He had to check up a little bit, and Cairns up to third. I thought just for a minute that Maiga was going to get the jump going into turn 2, but Post already 7/10 clear, so have to keep an eye on that. Can Maiga stay with him, or is Post going to check out here?
Well, I'm not sure what just happened to Jamie Lee and Paul Marsden. Just dropped down to them. They was both out of shape coming through the chicane, if you can call it that, and onto the gravel. They both went. So they've dropped down the order. Phil Atherton way behind with a lot of damage on his car already. So not the start that Phil Atherton would have wanted. And here we go. Look, some more of that just extending the exit of turn 1 being used by Wilbrink there and Herendich in the Mercedes behind. But Mackenzie all over the back now of the Aston Martin. This is for 4th and 5th place, with 6th place in 2nd place in silver right behind him. So already a good little fight happening here. Ken's just slowly opening that gap up to Wilbrink, and Wilbrink will need to stay ahead of Cairns and Post if he's to remain in this Gold Championship fight throughout this entire race, because he can be out of it after race number 1. Broome is gaining on Kruppeljan, who has got past him at the start of this one, Phil, and the Alpine of Gluhak just trying to get now on the back of the 3 Mercedes.
Interesting choice, the Alpine. I tried it, once? And, no.
Great through the corners, but lacks a bit on the straight once more, and maybe that's where the Alpine is gaining in this middle sector. Post hasn't dropped Maiga yet, as we see DJ Phil has finished his drive-through penalty, and it'll probably be 17th place for him. It's going to be a long way to catch back up with 26 minutes left, and that is Maiga just taking a trip into the gravel trap there. What else has happened in Popovic on the back of Vasic as we ride on board the Mercedes-Benz coming up towards the final corner of the lap. And it's interesting here because this track will punish you, Stephen, if you make that slight mistake and go off. There is a bit of gravel around that will hurt the cars if they drop a wheel in it.
Yeah, gravel, old school. It's kind of what I like to see. Obviously seeing the GT World Challenge at Port Ricard at the weekend, and not much gravel inside there. Good to see a bit of gravel. The other thing as well, in terms of punishing mistakes, is the corners just don't stop coming in that middle sector. Yeah. So it's very much one of those laps where what originally is a mistake that costs you 1/10 can easily be half a second.
Oh my
one sector
days!
later
Paul
on.
Marsden there. Sorry, Stephen, was on 2 wheels. He bounced off a little sausage curb on the inside of turn 1. That has opened the door for Jamie Lee. Through he goes, and Jamie Lee moves up another place. But Paul Marsden trying to come back at him. Pete Marsden, I believe it is, not Paul. I keep calling him Paul. Trying to come back at him in towards turns 3, 4, and 5. Can't do so again. Just getting that Aston Martin a little bouncy through the left-hander. And now has to sit behind and wait once more. These two are a little way off the pack. Further forward, though, Wilbrink just slowly creeping onto the back of Keynes. That was a little further than 0.4 of a second. And they're just slowly coming together once more. But Keynes on the back of Maiger. Interestingly enough, the Ginetta's going to do all the hard work now, Phil, for it to get to the final corner. And that Mercedes just pull like a rocket ship down the straight.
You're just going to wave at it and go, bye. Bit like an F1 at that moment, isn't it? As well. Go, bye.
So here comes Keynes in towards that final corner. He comes now, and this is what we mean. We'll go on board with Keynes. That's right, on board with him for just a brief moment or two. And you can just see that Mercedes-Benz. What was 0.4, look, as they come across the line, gap 0.6. He's already lost 0.2 since the middle sector, and that is really where the Mercedes can start to stretch its legs. And you can see it's just getting further and further away. Maiger does miss the apex of turn 1. They both use that track limits extension that they can do through turn number 1. We'll drop back down the order to Neil Broom, who's gaining on Kruppeljan once again here, and we'll see if he can find his way through at all in this race. But so far, it's just gone a little bit quiet 6 minutes through, Stephen.
Yeah, it looks like a driver's just settling in. Tyres coming up to pressure. Obviously, no blankets in the GT4. So, yeah, we're just getting to that stage of the race where... just starting to get into that stage of the race where drivers are just trying to work out where everything is. Wilbrink looking quite close to Cairns, actually, on the run down to turn 8. It's not enough to make a move, but... certainly hassling that Ginetta in the middle sector. He goes a bit deep, though. That may be opening up Mackenzie a chance to gain as well. And it's such a hard track with the braking. There's so many cases around this circuit where you're braking and turning at the same time, and it can be really difficult sometimes to keep that every lap on the limit.
It can indeed, and we'll see what Wilbrink is able to do. Just noting as well that Pete Marsden still trying to stick to the back of Jamie Lee. We've still got Broom and Kruppeljan going at it out there. Vasic and Herendich are starting to duke it out for second place in that silver category at the moment. Vasic, great driver, got promoted to pro throughout the year due to his sort of 3-race comparison, if you will, for the lap data. He made that step up into pro in the Lexus. Maiger, obviously, in the Ford Mustang in the Pro Series. We'll see what he took a race win outright in the Gold Championship at Indianapolis in changeable conditions there. But, yep, Wilbrink very close to the back of Cairns now, coming through turn number 1. Mackenzie not a million miles away neither, and they're still pretty close to the back of Maiger. Cairns is only a second off the back. It'll only take Maiger 1 or 2 mistakes, Phil, to just maybe allow these to creep onto the back of him.
Yeah, but meanwhile, Keynes has been touched.
Oh, he has. He's been tapped in the rear. And Mackenzie has to get out of that one as they nearly went 3 wide. Mackenzie really had to get on the brakes there from hitting into the back of Wilbrink. Yeah, I think Wilbrink's actually slowed to allow Keynes back through, but that could allow Mackenzie up the inside here. Side by side they go. Mackenzie just trying to hang on in there in the Chevrolet. Wilbrink right in the slipstream of the Ginetta. Now here comes Mackenzie to get a double slipstream in towards the hairpin they go. Mackenzie up the inside of the Aston Martin. Through he goes. Wilbrink trying to hang it on that outside line. Not going to be able to do so. Just touched the gravel on the outside of the exit of the corner. And Wilbrink makes a move. And that has put him up into P number 5 for Mackenzie. And now Keynes will be in sight. That Chevrolet Camaro, no slouch in a straight line, and should be on the back of the Ginetta really through this sector now after this little chicane.
Yeah, he should be. Yeah, Keynes took a lot of curb as well. And I thought it was something more old school than gravel traps on the outside of circuits. Catch fencing. Yeah, that didn't end well for many people.
This has allowed Herendich now and Vasic actually onto the back of this train behind Keynes as Philip Atherton is now receiving the blue flag, stays out the way as he goes a lap down in this race. But this train now has gone from the 3 of them into almost the 5 of them, Stephen. And this now opens the door for these 2 Mercedes in silver just to have a look and just maybe to pick up a couple more points.
Yeah, that's that's the nature of this track. It's the nature of GT4 racing. Sometimes if you get into a battle, certainly a freeway fight that we just saw with those guys in gold, you're going to lose time. And those silver drivers now will be just hoping that battle continues. And it just gives you that opportunity just to sneak a wheel up the inside, just find a way through. And you'll be absolutely laughing. Hendich and Vasic, they could just sit on the back of this if these 3 gold drivers, if it all ends in tears, which I don't know if you saw, but I was wincing when they were running down to turn 8 last lap, because I thought that was almost definitely going to result in at least one car in the gravel trap. But they'll just be hoping that they get a bit lucky and they're able to gain a couple of places out of it.
Noticing that Anderson as well, the bronze leader, is gaining on the back of Popovic for 8th and 9th at the moment. We've also got Stapley, who is closer to the back of Broom than what Broom is to Kruppeljan now. So Stapley just trying to come into this a little bit more. That's for the podium in bronze as well. Broom currently running in that 3rd place in bronze. Something's happened to Jamie Lee. He's had an off somewhere because he's 6 seconds behind Pete Marsden, who is trying to close down on Privet, who started to get stronger as the season's gone on. Seems to be getting good value for his driving at the moment, as here comes Wilbrink. Had a look on the exit of the final corner on the back of Mackenzie. And Mackenzie now on that long old start straight. We're just closing on Keynes just a little bit for the time being as they enter into turn 1. Now Mackenzie is holding that tighter line on the turn 1 exit. And I just wonder, there he goes. He just extends that exit a little bit more over that runoff a little bit there, just to carry that momentum through the corner. I just felt that's what he was lacking a little bit earlier on as the others around him was doing it, Phil. Now he's started to. Is that going to help him maybe try and get back onto the rear of Keynes, or maybe stay ahead of Wilbrink?
Probably more stay ahead of Wilbrink at the moment, because that Aston Martin is looming large.
It is indeed. So let's keep our eyes on what will happen here throughout this entire race. It's been a good race so far. Nice, clean race. No incidents that we've seen thus far. And Mackenzie is the man to keep our eyes on at the moment. Drives the Nissan on the Thursday Night Pro Series in that Gold Championship. He's had a few good results in it this season as well. I've been impressed with Mackenzie's running in that Nissan. Obviously, one of the older cars with the Honda on the grid that yourself, Stephen, is in. And you both had a fairly good results in the older machinery, to be fair, against the likes of the new McLaren, the new Ferrari, obviously the Porsche, the Lamborghini, the BMW M4, the Ford Mustang.
Yeah, I would just like to be a bit interesting, you know. It's so easy, especially in the GT3s, just to see BMWs, Mustangs, Ferraris, McLarens, and none of the older stuff. Obviously, previously I'd tried the M4 and that didn't go well. Yeah. So we went back to the old faithful and just having a look. I thought Stapley was going to maybe have a look at Broom there. The trackside cameras are not very good. Yeah.
You have got another old faithful though, haven't you? That could possibly come out. You have got another. I see it in the server at the moment. It is there at the server. Number 66 is using it, so there could be another old faithful that we might see.
I do like the Bentley, yeah. I
don't like the Bentley. I love the Bentley.
I think that will be colour dependent. I feel like I've somehow managed to take such a big step forward with the Honda this season that maybe the Bentley would even be a backward step. But it's fun though, isn't it? It's fun to see it.
The Honda's got as much love from this side of the commentary box as the Bentley is. Neil Broom has gone very, very deep there at turn 8, and that's allowed Stapley through. He didn't look to make a move on Kruppeljan there, just made his own little error, went too deep, and through goes Stapley. He's gone deep again. That's going to cost Broom massively. But speaking of the Bronze Championship, look at Anderson, the Bronze Championship leader, attacking now the back of Popovic. This for P8 overall. This will be huge, Phil, for his championship at the moment.
Mackenzie, I'm watching Mackenzie. He's just made a few little mistakes, and Wilbrink is...
Oh! Oh, round he goes in the wall hard. I'm glad you mentioned that because I've just tuned into it, and that was crazy from Wilbrink there. Let's get a replay of what's just happened. That was absolutely crazy, and it's going to show you the end of Neil Broom's incident to start with, and hopefully we'll change over to that. So you're now getting the view of Anderson. And as we change the camera, it saves 30 seconds of the replay. So that's why you're seeing what's just happened between Anderson. But we'll quickly turn through, as Phil was mentioning, as here comes Anderson on Popovic on the live action at the moment. This is now where it all happens. This is There he goes, on two wheels, somehow manages to, leaning probably to the right-hand side of the car to get that to land on all fours, and he managed to do so, and, well, he hit the wall, but has managed to stay in this race. But he has dropped to 13th. That'll probably put the Gold Championship to bed for him. 26. Who is the 26?
Jack McKenzie, and he has got big damage on the front of that car as well.
Oh, yeah.
I don't entirely know how he's managed to drop it where he's gone off.
Stationary. He's not moving.
That's the exit of turn number 1. So that is a very strange place to have lost the car and be off on the inside. He's moving now. Does that bring... Phil's going to check out the actual replays. I can't bring you the replay of that one because we didn't see it on the broadcast. Apologies for that. But, yeah, McKenzie had a big off. That really brings Anderson up into the top 7. And really, with him hounding at the back of Popovic, that could bring him into the top 6. But Neil Broom on the back of Stapley... no, that's Wilbrink he's on the back of now. Apologies. Wilbrink with some big damage to the front of his Aston Martin as well. That'll be an absolute handful to drive. If them two pit, that could bring Phil Atherton, who has unlapped himself. No,
it had like a wheel. His wheel just stopped a bit because it all looked normal, and then it just was like heading towards the wall.
I wonder if he had a wheel issue, and that's why he was stationary for such a while then on the track for a moment. So we'll see if he pits. That could bring Phil Atherton into play to maybe pick up another position in this race, but we'll keep our eyes on that. We've got a fight though between Herendich and Vasic at the moment. Closest fight on track so far. This is for 4th place, and Vasic real big send. The door was left wide open by Herendich. A little wiggle on the exit from Vasic there as they come through turn number 3 in towards 4 now. And Vasic moves up the inside. That is P4. This has really helped the silver drivers of Vasic possibly stay in contention of Miger at least until race 2, with the fact that they've moved up the grid and he stayed 2nd place.
Yeah, it was an absolute Hail Mary that from Vasic to get by. Late dive on the brakes. Really good move. Herendich gave him the space, so he's trying to come back at him on the run down to turn 8. But yeah, I was just about to say before we saw that battle, if you're Miger, you're probably maybe not aware of what's gone on behind you, but you've seen the timing tower and you're absolutely fuming. 2 of the gold drivers have both stacked it for various reasons. And suddenly your championship rival was only Cairns between the 2 of them. So I'm sure it won't bother him too much currently. P2 with 3 seconds buffer back to Cairns. But yeah, it might just drag that title fight to Donington potentially.
Oh, Popovic here dropping a wheel in the gravel. Loses the back of the rear just a little bit. That brings Anderson a little bit closer once more. We're just over halfway through this race. And Anderson looking for them extra spots just to try and grab that title maybe today. Or will that go down to the Donington decider? We'll wait and see. Herendich is coming back here at Vasic. Look to the outside. Vasic can now close the door on him as he comes back across towards the braking zone. Through turn 1 they now go. And Herendich just starting to mount that attack on the back of the orange and white Mercedes-Benz of Vasic in P4 as they come in towards turn 2. They stay as they was. What's happening between Popovic, who is on the defensive, from Anderson. Anderson looking for the up and under. Looked like he just got stuck on the curb a little bit. Rear end started to just twitch out ever so slightly. McKenzie is in the pits, so that could bring Philip Atherton in for an extra position here. But Anderson, who as well, another driver that seems to have got stronger as the season's got on, not just in GT4s but in GT3s also, is on the back for that P6 of the silver driver. 2 fights that are developing here. Stapley as well on the back of Kruppeljan. We've got Broom, who's still on the back of Wilbrink with a lot of damage. That's going to be hurting the Aston Martin of Wilbrink. And Phil Atherton, I believe, has just unlapped himself from McKenzie. We'll keep our eyes on whether Phil can get ahead or not. Post has the fastest lap in gold, but Vasic and Herendich going at it. So is Popovic and Anderson.
We've got Merckx battling. Stapley's all over the back of Kruppeljan. Yeah.
Yeah.
At least I can see the names here. I couldn't see the names on the tower and the endurance race.
No, they were too small. I've got to sort the team names out for the endurance race because it was too big as Wilbrink. They're very, very deep on the back of Stapley. He's gaining because Stapley is all over the rear of Kruppeljan. Then coming through that little chicane section, they both go very wide through the right-hander section of it. Nearly dragged him into the gravel. momentarily. This is bringing Wilbrink and Broom into contention here. Let's drop back to Herenditch a second. Nothing in turn one. Anderson's dropped back off the rear once again. And Stapley gets a great run out the final corner on the inside line of Kruppeljan. But watch that Chevrolet just start to pull back in front of the Ginetta. If the Ginetta can stay there and just have that nose up the inside, he can try and get it done. But there you go. Look, you see the gap. He was alongside and he's already lost a couple of tenths. Kruppeljan very, very wide through turn one. I know you can extend it. He took a little too much there, and that may have just triggered a track limit warning for him in this race. He's got to be careful of that, but he is pushing hard as Wilbrink very deep once again. Stapley looking underneath. Over the curb he goes. Is he now going to try the up and under on Kruppeljan through into turn four? He does try it. Has he got the momentum out the corner? No, he has not. And Stapley is right there, Stephen, to try and make that move. But so now is Wilbrink, and nearly is Neil Broom.
Yeah, it's all going on, and that all started back in the final corner of the lap previously. Kruppeljan defended the inside, and he probably didn't need to because Stapley wasn't close enough, and it just compromised his exit, and that allowed Stapley to get along, and he'd be praying that Ginetta just had an extra 5 miles an hour on the straight there, because it would have probably kept him alongside. And now, as we start to run out of corners in this middle section, it might just give Kruppeljan the chance to recover, but Wilbrink's right there, and he'll be hoping to do some damage limitation if he can pick these two off. P9, I think that's certainly a lot better than it was looking a few minutes ago. That's of course if he can see the cars in front of how much that bonnet is currently flapping up in front of him. But it's some late drama. Anderson still on the back of Popovic as well. That gap only half a second. And that would be for P6 overall, which for Anderson in bronze it would be a really good result. And I don't know if you've been paying much attention to the SimBot lap times for the GT4s in this race. Anderson was right up there, like with pretty much everybody, and not just from this season, from like previous GT4 seasons. And there's been some quick guys over the years. So maybe even one to watch if you can pull that off in race one. Maybe what can you do after a bit more practice in race two? It'd be interesting to see.
It will indeed. Wilbrink now on the back of Stapley, and you was right, Phil. It was a wheel disconnection. Mackenzie's just put in the chat that he's great. It says great time for a wheel disconnection in that one there. So he did have that wheel disconnect momentarily. So not what he'd have wanted at all. But at the moment, he's got to try and hunt down on Phil. In fact, he's got back ahead of Phil Atherton, so he's got that one done. Wilbrink very slow so far. That's allowed Neil Broom through, and here goes Stapley looking to make the move on the inside of Kruppeljan. Can he get the move done? He has got the nose here. Kruppeljan's given him the room. He's got the inside line for this little kink. He'll be on the outside for the double right-hander. And here he goes. He's got to hang it strong around the outside line. Kruppeljan has a thinner entry in, but will have the better exit out. Stapley all over the curb. Not necessarily the worst place to be. Has he got in front? Yes, he has. Kruppeljan drops down to 10th place. And Stapley makes his way through. A little wide, though, through the right-hander of the chicane. Broom is right there now, all of a sudden, in contention for this podium in the bronze. This is for second and third place in bronze at the moment. And Stapley doing a fine job. Now he's in front. Can he stay there? He's already pulled out of... so Mackenzie doesn't have the slipstream and covering that inside line, Phil.
Yeah, that was a really good pass, but now he's got to hang on by the skin of his teeth in the horsepower section.
Yes.
Aston Martin's not short on horsepower, but that's very wide by Kruppeljan.
It is indeed, and that's going to allow Broom to come side by side as Kruppeljan rejoins nearly into the side of Neil Broom, and Neil Broom moves back up into third place in bronze. He's now on the back of Stapley. The Aston Martin there manages to get ahead of the Chevrolet Camaro. And for Neil Broom, just working his way forward ever so slightly now. And so far, you have to say, good job from Neil Broom to make his way up the field once again. Not sure how he dropped behind Kruppeljan and Stapley. We didn't see it, but he's made his way through now, and that's the bonus for him. Anderson still there on Popovic, just cannot get close enough to get ahead, as he actually has a bit of a look maybe on the exit to the corner. No, tucks back in behind. So Anderson trying with all his might here in the final 7 minutes to get this extra position in the bag and just pull away from them bronze drivers a little bit more.
I think Kruppeljan's cooked his tyres a little. Both on them wide. He's dropped off the back of Broom.
Warm day today, 27 track temp, and we know Valencia for the GT cars will be a killer on its tyres, just with the corner nature of this circuit. So it possibly could be right. Interesting to see as well. Maybe the pressures are just a bit wrong, and that's where he's struggled there. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what's happened here for Krupeljan. He has now lost 1.5 seconds, and Broom on the back of Stapley. This could be an interesting one going down in towards turn 1 as Anderson has another look up the inside of Popovic. Can't do it there. Let's go back to Broom and Stapley at the moment. But Stephen, so far, some great racing we've seen today.
Yeah, it's surprising that you look at the track layout and you probably think, oh, well, we're not going to see any passing. But sometimes the fact that the passing is difficult and you have to fight for it and it's hard earned, makes it even more exciting. And Stapley, that move from Stapley on Krumpeljam was probably a long time coming, but he really had to work for it. And fair play to him, he got it done. Krumpeljam, I just don't know. I feel like he just out of his rhythm slightly. I think maybe got past, and really all he needed to do was just take a sort of a wide line through that final corner, open it up, and use the straight line speed of the Chevy. But he sort of took quite a shallow line in there, similar to what allowed Stapley to get the run on him the previous lap. And yeah, it he just lost out a little bit there. So he's got to try and regroup now. He's got Wilbrink only half a second behind him, so he's got to shape up pretty quickly, or he's potentially going to lose another position, and then he'll have gone from 9th to 12th in the space of a few minutes. So not looking great for Krumpeljam at the moment. Anderson is right on the back of Popovic. He's tried to open up that final corner. They're trying to chase the slipstream. I don't think you're going to get much slipstream in these GT4 cars, but they're trying anyway. And as they weave all over the start-finish straight, looks like Anderson's got a bit more grunt here, bit more top end. Can they keep it? It's a tighter line through T1, and that's probably just going to allow Popovic to scamper away and keep that place for another few corners. There's 53 Arts Atherton that's well off the racetrack at turn 1.
Oh, Anderson there, big wiggle out of 2. Sorry, Stephen, he had a huge moment, saved it well. And I'm not sure where Atherton is. He's off to Catalonia, it looks like, that far off at the moment. But huge moment for Anderson there, saves it well. Now Krupeljan's under pressure, like you said, from Wilbrink. This is going to put him down from 9th to 12th potentially. Wilbrink still going with some immense damage on that car. How he's still driving that and keeping up with the guys in front, I'm not quite sure at the moment. But Phil Atherton, just for the viewers, he is well off. And I don't even think he's made that corner, to be honest with you.
He's just something's gone wrong. His wheel disconnected.
That will explain why he's so far off there then. So he's returned back to the pits. He has got within that 75% distance done. So wheel disconnect. He's returned to the pits, probably because of the damage of hitting it at such a high speed. So he will score points for 17th place for Philip Atherton. It won't go down as a retirement. As here now goes Anderson once again. He's getting within this 0.2 of a second. Cannot find that little bit extra at the moment.
It's also trouble the car he's trying to overtake is pretty much the same as his.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, Phil, with the GT4 setups being a little bit more simplistic than the GT3, they are pretty much running the same car.
They are, yeah. And while Wilbrink is all over the back of Krupeljan with a battle-scarred Aston Martin, which will be handling not optimally. It's probably chewing its front tyres with understeer because of the front damage.
Anderson had a big look there on Popovic. Couldn't get the job done. Here we go. Wilbrink, whose car in a straight line is surely going to be lacking due to that damage to the car. Pete Mawson's not a million miles away. Him and Jamie Lee have actually got ahead of Privet. So Privet's had a moment somewhere. And there you see, look, Krupeljan just staying that little bit ahead of Wilbrink for now. And Anderson again, look, down to 0.8. He's just got that work to do. He just keeps getting a little bit closer than having all that work to do once more.
Yeah, I've been watching a little bit of Anderson, and I just think that the tactics aren't quite right here. He seems to be very good at getting that run out of the final corner, which is important. But then when they go into turn 1, it's almost like he's trying to do an over and under. And that compromises his exit speed massively compared to Popovic. If he just stays in behind, just tucks in, then he can use that speed, carry that momentum, and potentially look for a move through 2. I don't think it's going to work through turn 1. He's got to be a little bit patient and try for 2. I think that's his only chance. But a little bit of a mistake there in the back end of the lap, and he's probably not going to be close enough to have a look at this lap. So Yeah, he's running out of time here to get the job done, Anderson, but he looks quicker, doesn't he, Matt?
He looks a lot quicker at the moment. He just can't seem to get within touching distance. I believe this might be the final lap of the race, as here goes Wilbrink having a look around the outside of Kruppeljan so far in the Aston Martin, walking wounded in the Aston, breaks a little earlier. Kruppeljan goes straight over the curb, runs a little deep, but manages to somehow stay ahead of that Aston Martin. Now the problem for the Aston Martin of Wilbrink here is he knows he's going to lose it all in a straight line due to the damage he's got. Pete Marsden is gaining on the back of the pair with him. He could be in for another couple of places here. Here goes Wilbrink looking to that inside line of Kruppeljan, just trying to maybe get a nose up the inside and force Kruppeljan a little bit wider if he possibly can, and he can't. The Aston Martin struggling in a straight line with the damage, and Kruppeljan stays where he is. Herendich gaining on the back of Vasic once more. Anderson as close as he has ever been to the back of Popovic as well. This is for P6 in the race. The top three have checked out in this one. Post from Maiger from Cairns at this moment in time. And Wilbrink, by the way, is third place in gold, down in 12th position overall. What a crazy, crazy day that has been in the gold category at the moment. But so far, so good. If you are Anderson, you're outscoring all, and Maiger, you're outscoring all your competitors by quite the margin. Popovic deep. Here goes Anderson, stuck underneath. Can't do so. We're going to go on board with Post, who is going to come across the line. He will win the first race of the evening. Maiger is going to come home to not only win in the silver category, but to take second place overall. Great result for him in this one. Cairns will come across for third place and second in gold. Vasic, second in the silver category, fourth overall. Herendich on the podium in gold, fifth overall. And then it's a battle between Popovic and your bronze leader, Cherry Moore. Has Cherry Moore done enough? No, he hasn't. Loses out by 48 thousandths of a second for 6th and 7th. Great fight to the end. Gluhak, pretty quiet race in the Alpine, down in P8 before Stapley in P number 9.
Here comes Wilbrink. Sorry to interrupt.
You're fine.
Going to have a Hail Mary into the final corner. Can he get it stopped? He's broke quite early, but Kruppeljan's going to run wide. It's going to be a run to the line. Has that Aston got enough grunt? Has it got enough grunt with the damage? Because is the Chevrolet just starting to gain a little bit back? It's a photo finish, I think. Oh, it's 14 thousandths. Kruppeljan bolts on. And Marsden was less than a tenth behind the pair of them.
Yeah.
A three-way photo finish at the end there.
Absolutely crazy. I saw the run Marsden got and thought, no way is he going to do this. And he did. He absolutely went for it. And it nearly worked off for him in this one. Wilbrink now, by the way, is out of the running for the Gold Championship. He no longer can win the gold title in this one. Popovic is out of the Silver Championship as well, so he can no longer win it, as is Vasic. So I do believe that we can confirm our first champion of the season, and that will be, I can't see any penalties coming his way to take that one away from him. That will be that of Maiger, who will be crowned your Silver Champion for this season in what has been a fantastic season for the driver. Great job to him. Gillies, obviously you fought him hard all season. I'm sure you'd love to say a congratulations to him.
Yeah, absolutely. Thoroughly deserved champion. He's been on a different level. It felt like the few times I was able to beat him, it was very satisfying, and usually it meant that something had gone wrong on his end. But he's just been relentless. That's the word I used earlier, and I think that's the best word to use to describe his season. He's been banging the door down top 3, top 4 overall, despite being in the silver class every race. And different gravy, deserved champion. Congrats. Indeed he is.
Well, while Maiger can celebrate after race 1 his championship at the moment, he wasn't involved in any incident, so we always say that the results are provisional until the tables have been posted, but I'm pretty confident in saying that Maiger is your silver champion. We, though, will be back after a short break. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and yeah, what an epic first race. We can say that Maiga is the champion provisionally. We have to say provisionally. It is, until everything has been confirmed and we get the tables posted out on Instagram, Facebook, and on the Discord channel. Nothing is fully confirmed until then. But as it stands, Maiga is provisionally your silver champion. The Gold Championship down to the 3 drivers, De Munster, Cairns and Post. Post cannot win it today. It will go to Donington between himself and Cairns. He can put De Munster out of contention, but he can only keep himself and Cairns in it. Like we said, Maiga is your provisional bronze champion. Privet and Stapley can no longer win in bronze either, and we could potentially lose Broom and Kruppeljan from that contention as well, with Cherry Moore left in it, but he's now falling even further behind, sadly for him, in this one, so it looks very unlikely there. But what an opening race to the session. Everybody out bar Pete Marston at the moment in qualifying. 17 drivers so far out on the track. And at the moment, it's Post, who looks pretty dominant. We said he might struggle in that middle sector, and we thought it might have been a bit closer than I think what it actually was. Yeah,
do you reckon he ever gets bored? When was the last time we probably saw the back of another car that wasn't getting shown a blue flag?
He has to get bored at times, doesn't he?
But fair play to him. Yeah, I think we thought it was going to be a little bit closer than it was, like you said. And I feel like, not to give too many hints, but I think if you want to get past, if you want to beat him, you've got to do it on that one. I know that's always the opposite of what we normally say when we're trying to advise people to drive, but I think if you get past him early, you might be able to just hustle it round and keep in front of him. But if you let him settle in, and he just gaps the field like he did that last time, he's in the 38. So I don't think we saw 38 in last qualifying, did we? But
don't think we did, no.
So just keeps on getting better. Just when you think he's done enough, he finds that extra 10%. So that'll be...
That's kind of what I like about it, though, in a way, because he's not stopping. He's just continuing to push and push and push and find more time out there as much as he can.
Yeah, no, absolutely fair play to him, as Vasic goes 0.6 of a second behind him. Plus a few more times coming in now, but yeah, I mean, beating yourself, if you've got no one left to beat yourself. So and that's what he's doing at the moment. So fair play to him. And I don't want to be too doom and gloom, but it's hard to see anyone else winning this second race tonight.
It is at the moment, as we're seeing lap times come in so far. Herendich has gone second place. We're just waiting for Jamie Lee to come towards the line, and then that of Neil Broom, as Jamie Lee doesn't set a lap time. So Neil Broom and the 26 of Mackenzie left to set their first fine laps. Maiga must have been validated his first one, because he didn't set a lap time. The 985 of Gluak has just got a yellow flag, so he may have to abandon this one and go again as Broom moves up into 8th place. The 3 bronze drivers have out-qualified so far. That of Anderson, who can probably just start to have one hand on that title as well. Now, race 2 is normally where we see Mackenzie firing on all cylinders, but he didn't set a lap time there, and here comes Post once again to set another lap time, and it goes to do a 1:38.6, so improves even more. 2 more tenths he found there. What can Wilbrink do? Can he get that little bit closer? Yes, he does. Moves up into P3, 7 tenths off the back of Post, who there was teammates together last season before we decided to drop the team's championship in the Whodarron Cup. So interesting to see that as Anderson moves up 7th, Maiga goes 3rd, Cairns 2nd, then it's Cairns who replaces him in 2nd place. Stapley stays where he is, as that was I don't know who's just moved up the order. It was Popovic who's just moved up the order. The 496 of Herendich now coming towards the line, just behind Phil Atherton, who moves up to 14th place. Herendich doesn't find an improvement there this time around, as he's going to look to overtake Phil Atherton in towards turn 1. The 473 next car on a lap. That's Jamie Lee. So it's going to be interesting, I think, to keep our eyes on what will happen in this session at the moment. But you have to say it's been a heck of a day for Post so far. He's looked absolutely unstoppable, Phil.
He has, yeah. Ken's got a lovely toe from both Mercs going down the start-finish straight.
That's possibly what helped
2 of them Mercedes.
Get up into P3.
So he was in...
2, sorry.
So he got a lovely toe there. I think one of them is Maiga. Yeah, Maiga's the car in front of him.
Yeah, there we go then. So
Neil Brew, excuse me, just moves just behind Anderson into third place in the bronze category now in qualifying. Here comes Mackenzie, last of the gold drivers at the moment towards the line. What does he do? We normally see Mackenzie in race 2 put it on the front row and look like he's have a good fight, but what can he do in race 2 this time around as Post doesn't find an improvement that time around? Wilbrink will be next towards the line. The number 10 of Kruppeljan has invalidated this lap. He's got a yellow flag. It's the 229 next of Keynes, who has now not got that slipstream of the two Mercedes-Benz because he's in front of them both and comes to the line now. Does he improve? No, he does not. What about Maiger? No improvement there for him. Vasic towards the line. Popovic will be there first, and then will be Stapler. Keep your eyes on Stapler. He doesn't improve. He stays P9. Leader of bronze at the moment, though. Vasic to the line doesn't find an improvement. What about Herendich? Needs just under a tenth and a half to get ahead of Maiger. No can do there. Phil Atherton invalidated in the background, so we'll turn our attention back to Privet. 2.5 minutes left to qualifying, though. After this, we're going to go to a Donington decider in bronze and in gold. And Donington really is a track that suits kind of every car, I suppose, in the GT4 category. The fact that we've got ballast on board will play its part, and you just wonder, going into that, if you've got a close-ish gap where anything can happen, and if we end up with a big grid next Tuesday night, it could be an interesting one.
Could be, and it could also be weather in play.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was going to point out. It looks a little bit changeable in the UK over the weekend and into next week, so we maybe get a...
Don't say that. It needs to be glorious.
I'd pack your wellies.
Oh, God, no. Oh,
there's another place where you pack wellies for.
Here comes
but I can't say that on stream.
Towards the line, and no improvement once again. Here comes Wilbrink once more. And does find an improvement, moves up to P4 at the moment.
Yeah, Micah's sitting pretty. He'll be a gold next season, won't he? But
if we're still on ACC. That's all I'm going to say. Gareth Anderson moves into the top 8 and now goes pole in the bronze category. Pete Marsden's come out. He's not going to get a lap time in, sadly, so it'll be 17th for him. So we'll have work to do. Not many. The interesting thing here, going into Pro and Pro-Am this week, and obviously the qualifying format is different. The bronze and the golds qualify before the silvers and the platinum. There's not many improvements as the lap goes on. So drivers seem to be hitting their lap times early in this session.
Yeah, they're peaking quite early, but that temperature did creep up as this session's gone on. So...
Well, Mike has done. He's just returned to the pit lane. Jamie Lee, little improvement there. The Alpine of Gluhak. Just wondering, is this going to be a feature going through the rest of the week in Pro and Pro where the qualifying times, and obviously we've got the reverse grid, so race 1 there's no qualifying for, but for that hour-long race, it could really take drivers to absolutely nail a lap. Could we also see maybe... And it'd be brave, set maybe 2 laps, pit, change tyres, set another one, just to try and extend that gap.
Ooh.
Maybe, but it'd be tight. Only 10 minutes to get a qualifying, a quick time in since we brought in split quali this season. I don't know. Maybe we'll see a few drivers trying that, but I know previously as well in Pro-Am and Pro that typically when it comes to the qualifying sessions, quite often that track isn't optimum for the first sort of few minutes of that session. It does rubber in. So I'll be surprised if we see a gold or a bronze driver on pole at any point during this week.
Yeah.
I'm an optimist. I could believe it if we try hard enough.
After the unintentional reverse grid of Indianapolis, which was quite.
Does
funny.
he believe?
I tell you what, I don't know if you saw, Phil, the Indianapolis Pro Race, but for those who did miss it, I'll fill you in now. Where it was dry but getting greasy as the qualifying session started for the gold drivers, and then it quickly went to damp and wet as the platinum drivers came out. So it meant all them early gold lap times that were set. The top 10 was pretty much all gold. I think maybe the top 15 was all gold bar 1 or 2 platinums who managed to get an absolute. I think Schmidt was the highest platinum driver. Absolutely got a monumental lap in the damp to put it P5 or something, and it was an unintentional reverse grid race. It was absolutely brilliant. It provided great drama, and we got a podium of a platinum gold driver overall, which was fantastic. Qualifying though has come to an end, and that is Post, who is on pole position from Cairns. Miger on pole in silver, with Anderson on pole in bronze category then. So once again, Miger and Anderson just scoring that extra point Miger doesn't need it, but Post and Anderson scoring that extra point just to put them that little bit more clear in this championship at the moment, and that has made it so that realistically they're just making themselves that little bit more comfortable in this one as well. So we'll keep our eyes on it. I do add the fastest lap points on at the end for the silver and bronze category. I look at the sim grid for that data. I don't go over it on the timetable because otherwise you're just looking through too many lap times. It's going to take too long. But it is Post from Cairns with Maige, your pole sitter in bronze, lining up alongside Wilbrink. Herenditch from Vasic with Mackenzie from bronze pole sitter Anderson. Popovic from Stapley with Broom Privet. Gluhack from Lee. Kruppeljan from Atherton, and Pete Marsden at the back on his own.
Go helicopter cam.
Who are we thinking for this one then, guys? Who's going to win this race?
Post. The cars are so strong.
Yeah, I'd love to see somebody else do it. I'd love to see, a Cairns or Migra or Wilbrink just give it a bit of a send on lap one and keep Post behind. But it was pretty compelling, that first race for Post, wasn't it? So be interesting to see. The one thing that always tends to happen is that race 2 the gloves come off a little bit more. We might see a little bit more argy-bargy than we did in race 1. So yeah, no, I'm always excited for race 2. I feel like that's race 1 is everybody sort of dialing it in, and then race 2 is when we start getting a bit rowdy. So I'm excited. So
wait till race 2 next week.
Oh, love a good
last turn.
Race 2. Don't forget though, if you are new to the channel, do hit that subscribe button. We are 7 away from the 1,200 mark, as well as hit the thumbs up button and the bell to be notified when we go live. I'll be back live with Gray Langley, and I think Stephen might be joining us again tomorrow night for the penultimate rounds of Pro-Am from Valencia, as well as Thursday night I'll be in the box once again for the penultimate rounds of Pro. As well as go down to the description below and check out our fantastic sponsor, Design Manchester, producers of vinyl graphics, laser engraved gifts, mugs, printed clothing and much more, including SimPlay Motorsport merchandise. Head over to their Facebook page of Designed Manchester, who should, I believe, he's told me, good old Mike, should have a flag ready for me for this weekend. I've got an old banner with some old sponsors on for SimPlay, which is going to Donington. But I'll hopefully have a flag as well. So keep your eyes out. If you're at Donington Park for the touring cars this weekend, keep your eyes out for the SimPlay flag or banner. That's where some of us will all be gathered, especially on the Sunday, because the Saturday, me and my family tend to do a lot more walking around and looking at shops, being in the paddock. So if you are at Donington, especially on the Sunday, keep your eyes out for the SimPlay flag. That's where we'll be located. And we'll hopefully get it on the telly as well for you all to see if you are watching from home. Pin it up on one of the fences down the crane. What do you think?
Well, you watch the ITV booth and you see if you spot Mr. Duffin in the background. One year, remember? I saw you in there and I took a photo of it.
Me and Joseph Bates stood behind the ITV studio room.
Yeah.
Stood there. Joe was dancing like an idiot. Bless him. And I was stood there telling him to gear just in case we're on the telly. And what would you believe? I got 3 text messages from 3 different people who sent me the same picture. We was on telly. So, Joe, you're probably not watching, but if you do watch it, well done. Thanks for making us look like a pair of muppets. Either way, it's a good crack. We'll all have a good drink. We'll all have a good laugh. A wise man once told me that you're not true friends until you've had a good drink. Kelly Davis. So there we go. So if you're at Donington this weekend, let me know. Message me on Discord and we'll have a meet up. And if you want something signing, I'll sign it for you. Don't worry. It might be worth something in years to come when I'm hopefully commentating F1. He was sniggering at Philip.
Well, I was just thinking, got to get rid of Crofty.
Green and Go's got sorry, wait, is it lights out and away we go? It's got nothing on green and go, has it? Let's be honest. You know what I mean? Either way, speaking of green and go, we are about time to go green here at Valencia for the final time tonight. 2 rounds left at Donington Park. One champion has been provisionally decided tonight, and we are green and go. And that McLaren has got a demon start from Cairns already, but it's the second row of the grid. Wilbrink versus Post. In fact, look at McKenzie trying to squeeze between 2 Mercedes-Benz as Maiga just slides in. Wilbrink's been tapped on the rear from Herendich. They managed to straighten each other out, but Wilbrink tumbling down the order, as has Herendich there, and they've lost a handful of places going into turn 2 early doors. That has really opened the door for Vasic in this race, who is now sat in a comfortable P4. And Anderson has moved up into P6, I do believe, when they go through the first sector. He's side by side with McKenzie on that inside line, backs out of it. What a crazy start already in race 2. We said it probably would happen there.
It's usual, isn't it? We get it at race 3 for the touring cars. That's where other cars getting repaired at the end of this.
Yeah, it is indeed. Nobody cares at the end of the day. DJ Phil once again off at turn 2. So that's his first lap. Ruined once again for Philip Atherton. There's a huge send from Popovic there. Day late, dollar short. And Anderson will get back through, nearly losing out to Stapley further down the order. Privet under pressure from Herendich and from Kruppeljan now, with Jamie Lee, Neil Broom, Gluhack and Pete Marsden all in that same vicinity. But out front, Post leans from Cairns, from Maiga, Vasic, McKenzie, Anderson, Popovic, Wilbrink, Stapley, Privet, Herendich, Kruppeljan, Lee, Broom, Gluhack, Marsden, and then Atherton at the back once again in this race. Closest fight, though, is that between Kruppeljan, although it might not be. It's Herendich who's having a look to the outside line of Privet in the final corner. Privet goes very, very deep in the BMW. Kruppeljan follows him as well. And Jamie Lee taps Kruppeljan around. And Jamie Lee there. Hard to say if it was fully on him. I don't know if Kruppeljan come across him as he was trying to recover from running deep. We've also got that of Pete Marsden trying to get past that of Gluhack in the Alpine down the start straight into turn 1. Aston Martin up the inside. Gluhack's holding it strong around the outside line though. Still there he goes at the moment. And still side by side. That tiny little Alpine now gets overtaken by the Aston Martin. No, he doesn't. Comes back, taps into the side of Marsden, and through goes Gluhack at the moment. But Stephen, this is a typical race too. What a crazy start it's been already.
The gloves are off, Matt. They've had their Weetabix settled in, and now it is all going on. Anderson losing out to Popovic. Popovic with another big send into turn 1. Anderson didn't want anything to do with it, went way out wide, and that allowed Popovic to get through. As it looks like, is that Herendich going up the inside of Stapley into turn 8? He's going to get that one done, it looks like, and it's certainly these Mercedes are really throwing their weight around a little bit at the moment, and the racing is looking really good. Herendich again, just absolutely just late on the brakes there. Wilbrink, the next car on his list, but Wilbrink also looking at Anderson. I wonder how much Anderson might regret lap 1. He had a honest to good chance to get past McKenzie, and I think he probably should have from where he was on the road, and he chose not to, and now he's in the thick of it watching McKenzie 3 seconds up the road. But excellent action throughout the field so far.
Evening to Jurassic Jam. Yep, we're all good. Thank you, buddy. Hope you're doing well yourself. As Pete Marsden now pulls out once again to have a look on Gluhack. We've also got that of Anderson Popovic defending from Anderson, who's going to look right around the outside. We'll drop back down to the Alpine in a moment, because here comes Wilbrink trying to get up the inside of Anderson on the exit of turn 1 into turn number 2. Here comes Wilbrink. Disastrous race 1 for himself. Manages to get up ahead of Anderson. Good little move that. Marsden still behind the Alpine of Gluhack at the moment. Cannot find a way through. Pete Marsden so far trying every way he can to get a move, but for Anderson, he's now coming under pressure from Herendich, and the bronze driver, possibly soon to be champion, just starting to feel the pressure of the drivers around him.
Get me while Poster's checked out.
Shock.
He is checked out, but Cairns is a bit of a bottle top right now. He's got a bit of a train form behind him.
He has. He's got Vasic and Maiga and nearly McKenzie as well as Anderson on the curb. Little wiggle. That's invited Herendich in once more. Jamie Lee trying to get onto the back of Stapley. Marsden has lost out a little bit to Gluhack. But let's go to that fight that Phil was talking about. There's Cairns, there's Maiga, there's Vasic, there's McKenzie. Pretty close company at the moment. Wilbrink looking on the back of Popovic now. Wilbrink looks like he's on a charge since being tapped round on turn 1.
Yeah, the Red Mister's descendant hasn't. He's like, I'm having you.
Yeah, well.
He's all over Popovic.
Well and truly.
Yeah, Popovic
looks to the outside line. Anderson late on the brakes, gets the nose turned in at the final corner, and out the corner he comes now down the start-finish straight. They go once again. Is that Jamie Lee having a look? That's Popovic defending the inside line from Wilbrink. We'll drop down to Jamie Lee and Stapley in just a few moments' time. Let's go back down to them now. I think Wilbrink got through. Jamie Lee's got through on Stapley. Wilbrink didn't get past Popovic. He's on the outside line again for turn 2 here. Wilbrink trying everything he can. Anderson might look underneath at the moment. Wilbrink has to get out of it. Slides through the corner. Loses out to Anderson. May also lose out to Herendich. These two came together on lap 1. Phil Atherton back in the pit lane. And Wilbrink once again having a scrap with Herendich. It's lap 1 all over again. Will they make contact this time around? So far, so good between the two of them. Wilbrink gets back in front. Anderson now attacking the rear of Popovic in towards the middle sector. There you go. And just cannot find a way through. This is allowing the top runners to just pull away. Miga has dropped Vasic. Vasic coming under pressure from McKenzie. Back down. Broom and Gluhack has lost out massively here. He must have had a poor run out the corner before, because Marston has just driven past him like he was standing still. And still, Herendich. Look at Wilbrink. Look at the speed he carries in this middle sector. Tucks his nose underneath. Can't do anything about it. Real good fight in the middle of the pack so far, Stephen.
really wide with Popovic and Anderson, though, which is going to invite Wilbrink down the inside.
Oh, Wilbrink and Anderson. Near contact. And Wilbrink nearly ended up on 2 wheels yet again. Phil Atherton's just messaged me he's got to retire. The brake pedal isn't working, so he's having to retire from the race. Technical issue, so it will not go down as a qualifying ban for retirement for Phil. So no problem, Phil, if you're listening to the stream. Shame for you to end your night that way. Had nothing but issues with this new wheel that he's got, and he's just seems to be struggling even more. But Wilbrink there nearly ended up on 2 wheels once again at the same spot he did in race 1.
Yeah. It was exactly the same as the first race, wasn't it? He was on the inside looking to make a move on McKenzie in race 1. He ended up in the same position again in race 2. Anderson goes deep, very deep. So that's going to allow Wilbrink to maybe have a look. One thing I will say throughout all of that, Popovic, really good defensive driving, like firm but fair. I don't think there was anything like over the line there, but Wilbrink got really forced the block pass, had to check up, and that's allowed Anderson through. But these guys are not leaving anything on the table, are they? We've got 22 minutes to go.
Yeah, this is the last race of the night, and they are not bothered on how this race is going to turn out. They are absolutely gunning for it at the moment in the middle sector of the lap so far. And you've got McKenzie gaining on Vasic. We've got Miga gaining on Cairns as well. So battles happening further forward. Let's take a look at them quickly. They're close without really being as close as this from Wilbrink and Anderson at the moment. This is just allowing Popovic to stretch his legs a little bit here. And Anderson spent majority of race 1 fighting with Popovic. Well, he's doing it again now, and he's got to try and find a way past his Mercedes-Benz comrade there, but Wilbrink's looking the one who's racy at the moment, looking to go up the inside line. Anderson nearly into the back of Popovic, runs a little deep. This could give Wilbrink the opportunity he needed on that inside. Just gets a nose there, and Anderson's Mercedes-Benz should now pull away down the start-finish straight here. Great stuff this from Anderson. He's not only just trying to defend, he's trying to attack Popovic, and drivers normally know how to attack or defend. Can't do both at the same time. But Anderson here doing a terrific job at doing both so far, Phil.
He is. There's great battle to watch. Popovic in the USA colours.
Yes.
Team dynamics.
Love that from you.
You know.
Love that from you. That's brilliant. Go on.
I just hope, for one last update to ACC, can we have the BMW M4 estate car, please? What's that, Nürburgring?
We're not getting
I think that's wonderful.
any more updates, although there was news of an update for Assetto Corsa Evo today. They're adding a load of GT3 cars. McKenzie there had a look on Vasic into the hairpin in the middle sector. Couldn't do it there. They're also adding dedicated service, so no more buying service for Assetto Corsa Evo. They're adding them as part of the game. So interesting to see.
Well, there's still a beta, isn't it? We've just waited till it's out properly.
It is at the moment, and there's still no word of it coming to console either. So at the minute, to be PC only. But Wilbrink really looking racy on the back of Anderson. And big moment. Anderson there has a little wiggle. This is giving Wilbrink a run, possibly for the bonus of Wilbrink, because he's not going to clatter that inside curb, but he still manages to. Don't go on two wheels as much as he does normally. As Miger now on the back of Cairns. Let's go on board with that Mercedes-Benz. This is what we mean in that sorts finish straight. This is the difference of... I'm seeing Gillies pull a face. What's happened, Steve?
Oh, Anderson in the final corner just nearly completely cleaning up Popovic. He went late on the brakes, and it was nearly a huge accident. It's allowed Wilbrink to get by, and it looks like Herendich has also got past. So Anderson losing a couple of positions there, but that could have been a lot worse with a championship still to be won.
Yeah, and he does not want to try and take any risks in this one at the moment. He's sat in a good position, down in 9th place now, but he's got the pace of these two ahead to stick with them. Jamie Lee's not a million miles behind. Neil Broom trying to get onto the back of his Greasy Bandits teammate on a Wednesday night of Privet. So let's see what he can do then. As Mackenzie hassling the back of Vasic. Miger got very close in turn 1 to the rear of, Cairns, but without causing any dramas. Yep, I saw your message on Facebook, Phil, so no worries, dude. Just try and get that wheel sorted,
he touched.
Who's touched?
Mackenzie just tapped the back end of Vasic, but not past him. But there was contact.
Yeah, Vasic just managed to hold it there. Just a little bit of a love tap. It's we saw a similar thing in the previous lap as well between these two going into turn 8. It's a little bit not naughty. It's not naughty. It isn't naughty. It's good driving, but a little bit rude from Vasic. You can see Mackenzie trying to take that inside line, and Vasic just slams that door on him. But I think it's early enough to not be an issue. But that time Mackenzie just got a bit too close, and a little tap on the rear. He's really hassling Vasic now. We'll be hoping that if we can just get close enough through this final corner, will the Chevy be able to out-drag the Mercedes? But at the moment, he's not close enough. But you can feel that you can just feel that Mackenzie thinks he can go faster than what he's able to at the moment behind Vasic.
Yeah, you feel that he could possibly get an extra place in this race, and if he can get ahead, can he get onto the back of this Cairns and Miger fight? Cairns very, very wide. That's allowed Miger to look up the inside line. He's not going to do it though, because it's then into the double right-hander. Through the first one, there you go, and Miger's not alongside Cairns yet. Cairns doing very well to hang on in there at the moment, and all of a sudden Anderson putting pressure, heaps of pressure on the back of Herendich. We've got a fight between Privet and Broom and Stapley starting to develop as Gluhak gets back in front of Pete Marsden there. So he's gained yet another place. Krupeljan not in this race at all. Really, he's 6 seconds off the back, but fights all over at the moment. We're nearly at half distance, and here comes Mackenzie having a look down towards the hairpin. Is he just far enough alongside? No, he's not. And Vasic runs a little deep mid-corner. This could give Mackenzie an opening here. He'll be on the outside for the double right-hander. You can do the move around the outside. We saw it in race 1. They just make contact door-to-door. Mackenzie losing out more than Vasic here. Vasic stays ahead for the time being. Miger close to the back of Cairns. Wilbrink on the rear of Popovic. Anderson on the rear of Herendich with Jamie Lee now there for company. We've got Privet gaining on Stapley. As bringing Broom, Gluhak and Marsden with him as well. Marsden seemed to come on really strong as that race developed in the first one, but let's keep our eyes now on Miger over Cairns. 4/10 was the gap at the middle sector. Posters checked out up front in this one. Cairns trying to defend for his life in this race. And has Cairns got the legs over that Mercedes-Benz in towards turn 1? So far though, this race has proved to be the one where elbows are really out.
It's a good old classic BTCC race, isn't it? Elbows out. You're not passing me. Love it.
Wilbrink.
Absolutely love it.
On the rear of Popovic, looking to that outside line. Anderson has had a moment somewhere because he's dropped into the clutches of Jamie Lee and has lost out to Herendich. Herendich is now on the back of these two. Wilbrink cannot pass and pass Popovic thus far. And then this 5-way fight at the back here. This could allow Krupeljan to gain time over them. Miger within 2/10 cannot find a way through at the moment. Absolutely crazy stuff. He might have the run now. No, tucks back in behind. Can't get it done there. Mackenzie as well. Looking to get past that of Vasic ahead. Miger just cannot find a way past Cairns. Jamie Lee gaining on Anderson. And then we got this Herendich, Wilbrink, Popovic fight. That is Wilbrink in the middle in the Aston Martin. Being hassled by two Mercedes-Benz. Popovic in front. Herendich behind. And so far, so good. But what a race too this is turning out to be at the halfway stage, Stephen.
Yeah, it has been just end-to-end action really at the moment. And what we've got here is you've got a couple of drivers who are probably lap on lap slower than the guys behind them, but are doing everything right in terms of defending and positioning the car. Popovic and Cairns, both of them are just doing a really good job of just not allowing the drivers behind to get a run. Although it looks like, well, again, Miga just within 10th, but is the Mercedes going to do it here? Oh, whoa, that was I don't know if anybody else saw that. There was a little tap of the brakes from Cairns there. He just let Miga go through, who celebrates by running way off the course into turn 1, but a change of position there into Miga into P2. Cairns maybe waving the newly provisionally crowned silver champion through there.
Yeah, he might be indeed. He probably knows that's not his race to fight in this one, and might want to see if Miga can go after post. As Wilbrink very, very wide out of turn 2. Does that open the door for Herendich? No, it does not. They're all still fighting very hard. Anderson now scrapping as well with Jamie Lee. The 5-way fight further back. Gluak and Marsden not on the rear of these three at the moment. He's still got Pete Marsden for company. And a good bit of driving from Broome and Privet and Stapley as well to be sticking in there. Jamie Lee looks like he's having a stronger second race, but this Herendich, Wilbrink and Popovic fight, really one for the ages at the moment. It is an absolute classic. Great racing between the three. We saw that contact, Herendich and Wilbrink, turn 1. Since then, they have gone side by side a little bit more. No other contact. So you just feel it was that lap 1 incident sort of thing that... well, I mean, will it go to the stewards? We'll wait and see. It's been a pretty quiet night. I'm expecting a nice quiet weekend, seeing as I'm at Donington, Mike's at Donington, Matt's away working. So there's no actual Whodarron Cup stewards available this weekend. So we best get on it come Thursday when the deadline for tickets can go in.
Watch, I'm going to get roped into this.
No, you're not. Mike's bringing his tablet down so we can do it. We've said we're going to sit around the pizza oven Friday night and look at the tickets. The only steward who's available this weekend is Kieran Argent for Pro, provided he's not at the football taking photographs like he normally does, because he's a photographer for his local football club. As here goes Wilbrink to the outside line of Popovic at the moment. Can he get this job done? Mercedes should be a little bit better in a straight line, but Wilbrink hanging it around the outside. Has he got the momentum to go right around there? Popovic on that inside line. Here comes Herendich into this fight, nearly making it 3 wide. And Wilbrink did have the momentum to get through, but he's now on the outside line once again. Runs a little deep. Herendich just took it underneath. It's 3 wide near enough. Herendich side by side with Wilbrink once again. And still they stay at the exact same order. And once again, we got all excited, did all that shouting, and nothing has changed.
This is amazing racing between these three. They're so close to each other, getting so close, trading a tiniest amount of paint. Popovic, at the moment, if he is able to keep these guys behind, I mean, I know Miga's potentially wrapped up a championship, but still potentially a silver driver of the day performance this, because he's doing everything he can. I thought Wilbrink had him there down the straight. I thought the overlap was enough, that he was just going to sweep around the outside and get the job done. But Popovic was brave on the brakes. He just was able to just keep ahead by his fingernails, almost barely clinging on. And the thing is every time that Wilbrink makes a send and it doesn't quite go to plan, he gets Herendich on the kind of joining the party as Popovic again going to try and hold that inside, just try and block that optimum exit off to Wilbrink. Well. And yeah, there we go. That's exactly what we were just saying about. He gets a bad exit because Popovic covered the line, and now Herendich is going to have a look at the inside going into turn 1 maybe.
He is indeed, and if you think back to Popovic as well, he was defending for his life in race number 1 from Anderson for the entirety of pretty much the 30-minute race as Herendich gets past but goes deep, and that's going to allow Wilbrink back through. So again, Wilbrink gets the up and under on Herendich and stays back behind Popovic. This is not bringing Anderson into play at all at the moment. Back down the order though, Broome has passed Privet, so he's now attacking Stapley. Mawson has passed Gluak as well. They're trying to gain on Privet. Drive-through penalty for Gluak for track limits. He went 2 wide on the exit of turn 1, and he's picked up a drive-through penalty. That'll put his race to bed in this one. As here comes Wilbrink to the outside line of Popovic once again. Contact made, maybe just a little paint exchange, as Stephen was saying, but Wilbrink on that outside line. This could really invite Herendich to look up the inside and just follow Popovic through. Wilbrink may have to tuck back in behind. He doesn't. Sticks it around the outside at the hairpin corner. Will be really tough for him to hold it around there. Has he got the nose just alongside? No, he hasn't. But he is really trying to open this door on Popovic. This is an epic fight at the moment. Nearly into the back. Maybe a small bit of contact. Wilbrink to Popovic there. And Herendich cannot capitalise as he had to bail to get out of it. This is turning into an awesome fight.
It's right a Royal Rumble, isn't it? It's fantastic racing.
Here comes Herendich once again. Sorry, Stephen, go on.
I was just going to say, and Gareth Anderson has got the prize tickets for us watching this unfold. 2 seconds back, he might just get back into this fight as well. If these keep on scrapping, and they are really scrapping hard, Popovic covering the inside as they go down the start-finish straight. It looks like Wilbrink is gaining a little bit, but he's going to have to try and do all of the hard work around the outside. Will that give Herendich an opportunity? They're side by side, a little bit more door banging. That's going to send Wilbrink out wide onto the paint. He's going to try and come back on. Herendich is there, though. Popovic early on the brakes. Drive-through penalty, 473. Jamie Lee in P10. That's unfortunate for him. And, Herendich, a little tap. That could have been really ending in tears on the back quarter. They're all fighting around. This is absolutely sensational racing for what is P6.
Yeah. Exactly. We're all trying to show as much others as well. I've just gone on board the other fights just to show you them briefly as well, because we do want to try and show every fight we can. But this is a fight for the ages at the moment. Gluak in for that drive-through penalty. He might be now in a fight with Jamie Lee throughout the remainder of this race. But Anderson here, he's brought the gap down over a second over the last lap. He's got to try and get himself involved. This could end up being a four-way fight at the moment. Broom is gaining on Stapley. We've got Mackenzie, who is now ahead of Vasic. So Mackenzie has got that job done somewhere. And Cairns is sticking to the back of Maiger at the moment. So good job from Cairns to be keeping up with Maiger so far. But this fight, Popovic, Wilbrink and Herendich, and near enough Anderson as well. Herendich has dropped off the back a little bit this lap. Maybe he's made one or two mistakes himself. But yeah, wow, what a race this is turning out to be.
That's fantastic racing, isn't it? This is what we like.
I think Gluak is stationary in the pit lane. So I don't know if he thinks he's got a stop go, but it is only a drive-through as Popovic goes really defensive now at turn one. Wilbrink comes across to try and get that slipstream. Both back across the track in the braking zone they come. That's absolutely acceptable. And Wilbrink cannot find that advantage to get through here. So we've seen the two drive-throughs. Jamie Lee is now into the pits. And here comes that of Wilbrink looking for the up and under on Popovic. And has he got it done? Yes, he has. Is he fully through? Yes, he is. Wilbrink gets the move finally. And a great move it was. Ahead of Popovic he goes. And Wilbrink now has to pull away from these two behind, because all of a sudden that of Herendich is back onto the rear of Popovic once again.
Yeah, just watch for the counter. Popovic tried everything he could. I thought he was going to slide back up the inside at turn 4. It looks like Wilbrink has done enough so far, and Herendich is now putting the pressure on Popovic. Popovic has done an amazing job to hold on to that position for as long as he has. And yeah, you see that so often, don't you? You lose one position and then a little mistake. It's going to invite Herendich potentially to have a look into the hairpin, but Popovic does well to cover that position off. I mean, what I was previously saying before was, or what I was thinking of saying was, if you're Gareth Anderson, do you even want to get involved in this fight? Because if you've got a championship essentially to think about, and you see 3 guys literally leaving nothing on the table, there's nothing being left out here. It's absolutely balls to the wall. As Herendich got around the outside of Popovic around the final corner. That's impressive. There's a bit of a flash there, though, so I don't quite know. Maybe there was a little bit of contact earlier on, but Popovic flashing the lights or something. Well, maybe now that they've changed positions, maybe that's going to quieten down for the next 6 minutes. I hope not, though.
Yeah, I hope not as well. But there is another 3-way fight developing as well. Broom is just dropped off the back of Stapley a little bit. I was watching that fight just before you said about Herendich round the outside. Marsden's got on the back of Broom. Broom's gone very deep. That'll allow Marsden to get a move on the inside. Will it? He's on the inside line going into turn 2. And through he goes now. Broombacks out of that one, so that fight is over. Krupeljan fighting Jamie Lee after Jamie Lee's drive-through penalty. So Jamie Lee on the inside line nearly turned in on Krupeljan, who's gone very, very deep himself. And Jamie Lee should now get that position. No, Krupeljan rejoins right in front of him. Jamie Lee looks up the inside at the turn 2. And Krupeljan chops the nose off there. I think Gluak may be a retirement from this race. He's not come back out since his drive-through. Here goes Jamie Lee once more, having a look up the inside again. Contact between the two. Jamie Lee taps Krupeljan around, and hard to tell from our camera angle who was at fault really there. But Mackenzie, by the way, all of a sudden has dropped Vasic. He's on the back of Cairns and Maiger here. 3/10 off the back of Cairns. 9/10 is Cairns off the back of Maiger. So Mackenzie looking strong all of a sudden for yet another position.
Well, it's because he doesn't practice. That's the main reason. That's why he gets better in race 2 as the night goes on. He doesn't do any practice. But here comes the speed differential. It's like watching F1. The Chevrolet there just fully gaining on the Ginetta there. I thought he was going to be able to get it done into turn 1 there. But this could be trouble for Cairns for the overall podium, second in class. And Mackenzie suddenly coming alive, and I think that straight line speed from the Chevy is going to be a real problem for Cairns.
We've just lost someone.
We have just lost Jamie Lee, I believe, from this race. So not sure what happened to Jamie Lee there. He is within that 3/4 distance, so he will score points. But that could be a qualifying ban, depending on why he has retired from this race. It will also be 15th place points, because Gluak was in the pits before that of the 75% race distance. So Gluak will be counted as DNF for 0 points. Jamie Lee got within that 75% race distance and therefore will be counted as points. But you're right, Cairns has dropped off the back of Maiger. Can Mackenzie find that second place in the Gold Championship? Herendich back within 2/10 of Wilbrink, and Popovic has been dropped here, and Anderson's within 9/10 of him. So fights still happening out on the track so far, and could go anybody's way at the moment.
Yeah, it's a lot more closer this second race.
Yeah.
And this Wilbrink ended up blowing on 2 wheels into the wall, because that was not fun for him.
Let me get the driver of the day poll up, and I'm not going to put the race winners for Post or Maiger on there, because I think they've been just too dominant today. So
Not really.
let's get him on there. And I think let's go for that one as well. We'll get just an overall driver of the day, I think, instead of category driver of the day, because there's not many cars in each category tonight, so we'll just get an overall driver of the day. I think I've got who I'm going to pick, but we'll see what the other two think. As Mackenzie just losing a bit more time to Cairns. Wilbrink being hassled by Herendich once again. Anderson within 8/10 of Popovic. And that's the only fights happening out there at the moment. Closest one is this Herendich-Wilbrink fight. In what has been a great night's worth of racing so far. It's been really, really good to see.
Yeah, I don't think any of us were really sort of expecting this the start of the evening. Valencia, not a track known for its door-to-door action or lots of overtaking, but these smaller GT4 cars, they found a way of making it work, and hopefully with just under 2 minutes left to go, we might see a little bit. The Cairns Maiger Mackenzie train has opened up a little bit, but Herendich has maybe got a bit of an up and under going on there. Is he? No, not quite. I think Herendich looks quicker than Wilbrink at the moment, and he's running out of time to get this job done. And there he goes all over the curbs there. That won't help him. He might lose some time out there. And Anderson as well, so gaining massively on Popovic. It was always going to come crashing down for Popovic, wasn't it, once he lost those positions? He'll be hoping that he doesn't lose another one.
Let's hope not. But I mean, Anderson, he'd love to get into that top 8, wouldn't he? As here comes Herendich, really close to the back of Wilbrink. These two have been scrapping all race long. This might be as well the final lap of the race. We'll see on what Post does at the end of it. Looked like he slowed just a little bit in race 1 to get across the line. We've got Marsden, Broom and Stapley also developing a fight. Anderson gaining on Popovic, Herendich and Wilbrink, Vasic Vasic in no man's land, then Mackenzie and Cairns just Ken's actually got within 6/10 of Maiger once again here, so he's got a little bit closer all of a sudden. Marsden trying to get closer to Stapley than he is to Broom so far. And we'll see if this is the last lap. 40 seconds remain as Post comes just towards the end of the middle sector. But what a race this has turned out to be. Epic battles everywhere you look at the moment.
Yeah, okay. I'm keeping an eye on the Wilburn Heritage one because it's pretty close. Tyres are now probably well past their use-by date. So that's
I think certainly in that middle group that we've been watching so much of, because you can see that they are really wringing the neck of those cars and sliding them around.
Sorry, I've just gone to check on Keynes because I saw the gap and he's got back ahead of Maiger. As now the leader starts the final lap, Keynes goes a little bit deep. That puts Maiger on his inside line. So is Maiger returning the favour to Keynes? But there's one lap to go, and all of a sudden Mackenzie is right back in play, 4/10 off the back. Keynes tries to come across to defend from Maiger, can't do so as they enter into turn one. Will they make contact? And they're both sideways, and here comes Mackenzie, who somehow slots through the pair of them. And has he stayed ahead of Maiger? Yes, he has, and gets second place overall at the moment. So on the final lap, it's gone horribly wrong for Maiger, horribly wrong for Keynes, and that of Mackenzie capitalises once more.
It was always going to end in tears, wasn't it? The way they were going side to side, you could see Keynes just slowly leading across, moving across, which he's perfectly entitled to do. And then, just side to side contact into turn one. And I just wonder, we saw before where it looked like Keynes gave that position to Maiger, and maybe that was an attempted return of the favour, although it didn't look it when they were going side by side. But
Gareth
the result
Anderson's
of
in
that,
the wall.
Mackenzie.
Sorry, Stephen. Gareth Anderson has been in the wall somewhere and has only lost out to... In fact, he's not lost anything. He's just dropped way behind Popovic. He's not lost a place in this race at the moment.
Contact again. Sorry, Matt. Contact again. Keynes has just hit the rear of Maiger into the hairpin, and he's going to potentially get back alongside, although they're now side by side into that penultimate corner. Keynes sweeps across. What I feel like was quite good-natured at the start of this race, maybe slightly less so.
Might get both of these.
Well, here comes, you keep an eye on that. Post is going to win race 2. Great win for him. It's going to be Mackenzie to win race to be second place in this one. Another top job from Mackenzie in a race 2 format. But is Keynes going to hold on for that third place? Yes, he is. From Maiger, from Vasic. Maiger, your silver winner, from Vasic, second place. Wilbrink will hold off that of Herendich, who will get the podium in the silver category. Popovic crosses the line for P8 overall. What an absolutely crazy race that was from everybody out there. Great to see. Some fantastic racing. Mackenzie, second place. Huge result that for him in this race as well. So what a job from Mackenzie there. Stapley 10th. Anderson, your bronze winner. Marsden, Broom. Privet's coming towards the line now, and we just have Krupeljan, who we are waiting to get across the line. But Maiger down in 4th. He won't mind. He's already won the championship, and it was more the race too that he could get faced a ticket for. We'll wait and see. Popovic was P8. He looks like he's going to hold on for that second place. Oh no, I tell you what, Vasic has actually just overtaken him. So that could be an interesting fight between them two in this championship that is left to go, as we have just had a driver leave the session. So I'll get the results in just a moment. Take a screenshot of that so I can see it, and we'll get the results on board now. Pete Marsden was that of 11th, and that was that. And then in bronze we had Anderson, who was your race winner, in 9th. Krupeljan finished 14th, sadly for him. Neil Broom was 12th. Broom just starting to put pressure on Krupeljan now for a top 3 in that championship. Stapley's not a million miles away, and Privet was down in 13th place. I can now confirm, bar tickets, Anderson is your provisional bronze champion. So he has done enough to score the points over Cherry Moore. So Anderson is your provisional bronze champion. Maiger is your provisional silver champion. And it is going down to Donington Park, where there is a good points difference between Post and Keynes. Post is either going to need to not turn up, or Keynes hope that there is a big grid for the final race of the season to stop that one. But Anderson and Maiger, your provisional champions at the end of today. We'll speak to a few of them in just a few seconds. seconds' time. I will read out them provisional standings as we end tonight. Post leads the championship in gold, 1,306 points from Cairns' 1,218. De Munster cannot win it, 1,059. Wilbrink is on 949 from Pospisil, Mackenzie, McGowan, Leach and Mezim. In silver, Maiga, provisional silver champion for the time being until the tables have been confirmed. He leads by quite the margin over Popovic. 1,125 for Maiga to Popovic's 794. That's wrong. I've not put them in the correct order because it is Vasic who is second on 801. And then it is Popovic on 974. Although I don't know why that's done that, because that's just giving him a few extra points, I do believe there. So not sure what's wrong with that, so I'll leave that as it is for now. But it's Maiga, Vasic, Popovic, Gillies, Herendich, Lee, Marsden, Varga, Cummins, Gluak, McMillan, Johnson, Ramsell, Betts and Sturrock. And down in the bronze category, it is Anderson, your provisional bronze champion, from Cherrymore, Kruppeljan, Broom, Stapley, Privet, Winspear, Crack, Doosan, Smith, Atherton and Tipping. So a good job for everybody there. We are joined in the commentary box by Post at the moment. So your two-time race winner tonight. Post, congratulations. Pretty straightforward tonight. You got the job done in qualifying, led out to turn one, and you didn't really have to look back after that, did you?
Yeah, thanks. Qualifying was really good. The race starts were also really good. Managed to stay ahead of Cairns and Maiga. And after that, I could pull away steadily. And from there on out, it was kind of a boring race for me. But yeah, the pace of the McLaren, it was something else. I had quite a good setup. Was really stable. Amazing car, amazing race.
Yeah, amazing car, amazing race. You've still though got to try and win that championship next week to become back-to-back Whodarron Cup champion. Obviously, from the BMW M2s last season into this season, we go to Donington Park to end the championship once again. Cairns, he can still do it, but it's going to take a lot for him. Do you feel like that the McLaren can go well at Donington Park?
The McLaren can go well at Donington. Previous races, it was really strong there. Still depending on the weather conditions. If it starts pouring and raining, it might be a different story. Overall the pace is really good. I know the Cairns is also really quick on that track. So we'll have to wait and see.
Indeed we will. Well, congratulations tonight, but we'll let you go and we'll see you at Donington next week.
Thank you very much. See you then.
And we are joined by Anderson, your provisional bronze champion, Gareth Anderson. That must sound good for the time being.
That sounds lovely. Yeah, that sounds really good. A little bit. I don't know what happened with Cherry Moore in the last round and this round, but it's a shame that we couldn't sort of bring it to the last race of the season. But if it's a provisional, we'll see where we end up next week.
I mean, it's only provisional until the tables are fully confirmed at the moment. So, no tickets against you. You should be pretty much all right, which I don't think there will be any because I didn't see anything from you tonight myself. But a good race, to be fair. You was on the back of Popovic for majority of this night. Just couldn't find a way past him, both race one and race two.
Yeah, it was two sweaty races for sure. I was hoping that I would have cut the three guys in front. Popovic, was it Herendich and Wilbrink might have had a little off-track excursion to leave it up open to maybe give me another space or two, but it wasn't to be. But yeah, fun race definitely with Popovic. We did have a wee bit of a bump. I think it was turn 4, or 5 in race 2, but side by side going through a fast right-hander. I lost the back of the car with touch. I went off. He kept his position. I wouldn't expect anything of it, but GG's all round.
Yeah, good racing from yourself, to be fair, and the others. It was a great battle in race 2 to watch. Donington Park, though, next week. What's your thoughts on that one?
Haven't been there in a GT4. Will be interesting. Do love the track. Nice, fast, sort of open track as well. So hopefully the Merc will have a good time there with me in it.
Merc goes well around there. Let me tell you that one. The Merc does go all right around there. So you should do pretty well, I think. Well, congratulations tonight. Congratulations so far on that bronze championship. We'll see what happens with tickets throughout this week, and when the tables are posted, you'll know if you're confirmed champion or not. But for now, you are a provisional bronze Whodarron Cup champion.
That's brilliant. Thank you. Cheers.
And we'll see you next time, buddy. Have a good one.
See you next week. Bye.
And Cairns takes driver of the day from the fans vote. Phil, final thoughts, driver of the day?
Oh, that was certainly some excellent racing there. Some great side by side. Driver of the day, for me, would probably be Cairns because he punched above his weight in that Ginetta because the Mercs just ate it and post McLaren was gone, wasn't it? So, bit unfortunate in race 2 with the contact, but it's racing, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's to see what happens in the steward's room if it happens.
Indeed. Steve, same to you.
I mean, there's a few good candidates out there. You just spoke to one of them. Anderson, I think, had a really good meeting. But for me, I'm going to maybe go a little bit left field and go for Popovich. The way I'm a sucker for somebody who is able to defend like that without causing as much contact. There was a little bit, but nothing too bad. That some of that stuff in race 2, the entertainment provided by the fact that he was able to keep those faster drivers behind him as long as he did. Yeah, he's my choice this week.
Yeah, don't blame me there. It was a good result for him. And I think I'm going to go. It is hard because Cairns did punch above his weight. But I'm going to look at Vasic. I think he's had 2 strong results, kind of best of the rest when you look at the other drivers around him tonight. I think he's been sort of the best of the rest and nearly on the podium at the very end. So, yeah, I'm going to go for Vasic. 3 different drivers from us. Cairns, obviously, driver of the day from the audience as well. But what a night tonight was. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and the bell to be notified if you are new, as well as subscribe to the channel. As well. Me and Steve will be back in the box tomorrow night, joined by Gray Langley. As always, me and Gray, and then Steve will be joining us to bring you all the action of Pro-Am for the penultimate rounds of Silver, Bronze, and the Teams Championship, in which I don't think any can be won tomorrow night. Mathematically, I think it'll all go down to Donington Park in all 3 of them, but you won't want to miss it for sure in that one. And then I'll be back on Thursday night to bring you all the pro action, where again I don't think any championships can be confirmed. I think it'll all go down to Donington Park for quite a few drivers up for the championship as well, so it could be an interesting one to keep your eyes on this week and next week. Tinnis will be back in the box next time out for the Whodarron Cup, so make sure you come and join Tinnis live for the finale at Donington Park next Tuesday night. But from me, Steve and Phil and the rest of the SimPlay Motorsport team, thank you all for